Well, welcome back to another episode of the Lucas Bros podcast. My name is Chad, and with me is my brother Ryan. We're excited that you've joined us for our Christmas episode, and let's jump in.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. We're almost there.
Merry Christmas, yeah. So we're recording this, and we had the idea to do a little quick Christmas episode, just talking around the holidays, what we enjoy, traditions, all that. So we can just launch right into it. Yeah. What is something that you really enjoy about Christmas?
I got to start out by saying I'm not a huge Christmas person.
Okay.
I don't get super into it. I've never been like totally into the decorations or the treats or the obviously the true meaning of Christmas, you know, like birth of Christ. Like that's very important for me to celebrate. But the seasonal stuff, I never get super hyped on, but I do appreciate, here's what I would say. One of my favorite Christmas memories, actually is, me and my buddy, we were both living away from our hometowns and we went to the Anza Borrego Desert, to camp, and there was nobody there. So I think some of my favorite Christmas memories have actually been outside because it's like people are usually doing something else or they're preoccupied with, you know, doing something inside. And so some of my favorite Christmas memories have actually been outside. That's probably my favorite thing about it.
Nice. And I feel like since this is our new podcast, the audience is getting to know you a little bit. What they're probably noticing is a recurring theme of that you have a lot of these outside adventures, and you've done a lot. You spend a lot of your time, a lot of your life outside and exploring the wilderness. So we may need to do just an adventure podcast episode where we just talk about all your adventures and your backpacking experiences and your ultralight backpacking. I always find that really fascinating.
Yeah. Very cool. So what are your favorite things about Christmas, about the season?
Well, obviously, I can't depart from the reason for the season, which is the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so that is always, every year, the main goal is to just focus on that and to really meditate on that. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I really love about the Christmas season. I was thinking about this as I was driving over here today, and I thought there's really not a season of the year where you spend as much time as you do at the Christmas season thinking about one thing, right? For a lot of people, yeah. But well, and I mean, just regardless of, obviously our faith is a huge piece of that and thinking about putting Christ back in Christmas. But even so, with Christmas, for a lot of people, that season really begins the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And there's not really a lot of other things except for maybe Lent and Easter that last that many days that it's something that you're looking forward to and that you're just keeping your mind sort of fixated on one thing. And obviously there's distractions, but in general, there's not a lot of things that last that long. Not many people, you know, look forward to 4th of July starting back at like, you know, President's Day or something like that.
It is all around you too. Like you can't go more than 10 feet from your house without seeing the Christmas lights or decoration, or you can't go to the grocery store anywhere without seeing Christmas stuff, which is, it is cool in that sense to think about. It's a cool time to set your mind to think about something else that you usually wouldn't see every day.
Absolutely. As a young adult with 3 kids and a busy work schedule and life schedule and serving and volunteering at the church, I really like that there's an opportunity to just spend a prolonged period of time focused on one subject, one mode of thought. For me, that's thinking about the birth of our Savior and just looking at that diamond from all the different facets. But that's something I really enjoy about Christmas, is just that time to think thoroughly upon one topic.
You've got a couple books that we were talking about that we grew up reading that you now read with your daughters that are about the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah. So we read each year, there's a couple, but the 2 favorites that I read are The Legend of the Candy Cane. And I think there's a new version out. So if anybody goes and looks for that on Amazon, there's an old version with really beautiful illustrations. And then there's some funky new version.
Oh, so, really?
Anyway.
Did you look into the new one at all?
I haven't looked into it. It might be the same story. I just recommended it to a friend and they got it and they sent me a picture of it. And I was like, whoa, what is that? It was the same story, but really funny illustrations. Anyway, so the old version of The Legend of the Candy Cane, which is about a young girl who, it's kind of an old-timey town, and this carpenter guy comes to town, or everybody thinks he might be a carpenter. He's setting up his shop, And this little girl goes to visit him one day, and they unpack these boxes, and she finds out it's candy, which is the big wish of the kids, that it would be
the whole town wants a candy. They don't have a candy store yet.
The whole town, it's really cute.
Yeah.
It's like the mayor wants it to be I think like a general store, and the women want it to be something so like where they can buy dresses and things like that, but all the kids have the wish that it's going to be a candy store. So anyway, she goes and they find out that their wish came true. It's a candy store. But they get to the candy cane, and they talk about the legend of the candy cane and what it represents. And so it talks about how it's a shepherd's crook for the shepherds who were first to hear about Jesus's birth. They talk about how, when you turn it upside down, it's a J for Jesus. And then also how the red and white stripes on it, how it is that he was, cursed for our iniquities, and he bled for that. And then the white, how he washes us pure as snow. And it's just a really beautiful and fun story. And all the candy in it, we always my daughters like to pretend to grab the candy and eat it, which is really fun. So we do that. And then we also read the legend of the three trees.
I never questioned this. Is the legend of the candy, we grew up reading that book. Is that factual?
So it actually has a little history in the back of it around how the candy cane came to be. And it was a series. It was actually a minister, I want to say in Germany, I might be wrong in that, but who used to give peppermint sticks out to the kids to keep them quiet on Christmas Eve services. Great idea.
Yeah.
And then over time, they began to incorporate more of the twist and the crook, and then the coloring. And I think the coloring might have been in America where we started doing the coloring.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the other book is The Three Trees, which is a beautiful story about one tree these three trees that are on this mountaintop, and one tree wants to become a treasure chest and hold the greatest treasure in the world. Another tree wants to become a mighty sailing ship and carry kings and queens and dignitaries. And the third tree wants to just stand tall on top of the mountaintop and point to God. And so one day they all get cut down. And the first tree gets made into a feed box for animals. The second tree gets made into a tiny little fishing boat. And then the third tree gets cut into just plain, simple beams.
Plain lumber.
Yeah.
So it looks like none of them are going to get...
None of them are going to end up living out their dream. And then one day, the first tree that got turned into a feed box for animals is the manger, which Mary places Jesus into. And so then it's the first tree realizes that instead of becoming a treasure chest, it's now holding the greatest treasure of the world. The second tree that wanted to carry nobles and dignitaries and kings is the little fishing boat where Jesus calms the storm. And he realizes that he is carrying the King of Kings. And then the third tree, who wanted to stand tall and just point to God, gets those beams get turned into the cross. And so now every single time somebody looks at that third tree, they'll think of God. So it's just a really beautiful story. I honestly
I really love that. Yeah, I get a little misty-eyed too thinking about that one.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny too that like so many Christmas stories like those two also, they start with like, and I love this, what happens when you have art that does this, is like they start with something that you think it's going to be, but it ends up being something else than what you thought it was going to be. And it's richer than what you thought it was going to be. And I think that's what's so fascinating about Christmas. Even the ones that aren't, that don't have a faith element, have that element. The Christmas stories that don't have a faith element, they have still something behind it that's like, well, it was about the present, but now it's actually about family, or it's about like, it's always, there's another layer of depth, which I guess is a really cool theme in even regular Christmas stuff that's around us.
Yeah. Definitely a good example of that is The Christmas Carol by Dickens, where you have this character Scrooge, and you really don't think there's any hope for him. And yet he, at the end, turns around and changes, and shows how people can change when they're presented with that future in kind of the two paths that they could take.
Yeah.
That's really, are there any other traditions that you really like around the holidays?
I think I really appreciate just having the time around family. It's like one of the few holidays where I think there is a lot going on, and there's a lot of things that people fill the time with, but if you make it about spending time with family, you do get a lot of like free time around them. And I feel like I always remember having done Christmas morning and you open presents or whatever, but then you have the rest of the day to hang out and maybe you have something new to use or whatever. But more importantly, you have a whole day with your family. And usually where we grew up in Arizona is like nice weather too. So it's still kind of cheery and you're hopefully not snowed in or anything too. So that's nice.
So if you had a young man in your life, he's new in the workforce, maybe recently graduated from college, and he is saying that I've had a couple years after college and I'm now in the workforce, and it just feels like Christmas is busier and busier every year, and it's harder and harder to make that time to be with family.
Yeah.
And he's telling you this. What would be maybe some advice that you give him?
I don't know if this is the best advice, but I think I would tell him to take that time elsewhere. Like not elsewhere away from family, but to maybe do the thing, put in the work on Christmas, but make that intentional time outside of that. Because I think Christmas, maybe the reason I don't always connect with it as much in terms of the decorations and all that stuff is that it's not, there's nothing special about that December 25th if your goal is to spend time with your family. And so you can make that time somewhere else. And maybe you're in a job, if you're talking about a young guy, for example, or a young woman in their career, maybe you're in a job where, like my wife, Kate, for example, they often, when she was a cardiac nurse, they had to be on call during Christmas or they had to be working on that day. So you figure out a different way around it. Maybe you celebrate the 24th or you celebrate January 1st or whatever, or you make New Year's your big holiday, something like that. Anything to be creative with the time, but time is time and needs to spend it where you actually have it.
So you're saying maybe instead of getting so obsessed around spending that specific month or day with family, that intentional time with people should be something that really pervades our entire year.
Yeah.
Or you might have seasons where, yes, hey, work is really busy right now, but make that intentional time in other seasons when you may not be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to revolve around the holiday.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. Doesn't have to have anything to do with the day itself.
Interesting.
Yeah. What would you say?
I think I would say that I like that advice. I think I'd also say that we have to make time for it. And so while work is really busy, it's also a time when family is available. And so it doesn't mean to deprioritize other things. And there's certainly different seasons. But I think it would just say to that young man is, go hard when you're tired. Go, and rather than coming back home after a long day's work, go try to be intentional with the family. And you might be even more tired after that.
Yeah.
But really go and try to have that intentional time with them, especially because since everyone else somewhat expects it, it's really whether you feel like that or not, it's a really loving act to go and spend that time when they're making the time to be with you. And there is something I think that is important about centering around that season. There's just something, at least for me, I experienced, there's just something like a jovialness and a openness that I think happens with family during that time. It's a time and season of a lot of love and care and compassion. People are reflecting upon their year. I think it's a great thing and a beautiful thing that we have Christmas right at the end of a year. And there's that sensation of trying to start the next year well. And so I think as people just become more reflective, I think those are really good times to capitalize on family relationships and dynamics. And I recognize that not everybody can do that. And there's certain people who have much busier seasons.
Yeah.
But simply to just try to make that time. And if you're going to push in, it's, hey, maybe that push is not more hours at work. You might already be doing a lot of hours at work, but maybe that push is still making it to that Christmas party or to that event or going out with friends to look at lights or something. And you're going to be tired, but that's the way that you can push and really love on others and serve them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking, before we hit record, you were talking about how this season can feel kind of magical, and especially when you're a kid. What do you feel like that, how would you describe that feeling of Christmas being kind of magical?
Ooh, that's a good question. We were talking about this a little bit about how we've lost that magic or how sometimes as an adult, you can feel like you lose that magic that you feel around children. But how would I describe that? That's a really good question. I think that I don't know if I could put it into words. I think that that's kind of why we use the word magic. There's just something special and exciting about it it's almost like your birthday, right? Like you could be excited for parties or things like that or presents, but even if none of that was happening, you still feel something special about, hey, it's my birthday. It's special because it's special. And so I think that maybe the magic of Christmas is a little bit of just that. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to rephrase my answer as I think about it. I think one of the magic of Christmas is exactly what you said, is that everybody's sort of on the same page about stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's, for the most part, everybody's celebrating it. The stores, it's got the music going. And so you just feel like you're part of something that's bigger and that everybody's doing. And it kind of just creates a common ground across almost everybody for 40 days or so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What do you think you said as you were getting older, you feel like you lose that a little bit? Do you feel like it comes back a little bit now that you have younger kids?
I think that you have to be really intentional about bringing it back. And that's what I've recognized. So Christmas is so magical, and I loved that time of year when I was growing up in high school, and even in college, I thought that it was just very magical. It's just very special. And then becoming a young adult, having kids, and just, it felt like every year it got just a little more rote or a little less magical, or just, and by that magic, I'm almost just saying like the warm fuzzies, the feeling of Christmas. And that was sort of starting to slip away. And I didn't like that. It just felt each year that it was just almost that the Christmas season got shorter and shorter, less and less impactful. My mind was just busy on so many other things. And so I definitely think it could be brought back, because it's something I've been doing the last couple of years. And I'm sure having kids helps to bring it back. But I really think it's more than just having kids and enjoying them. It's really being intentional about different things to sort of bring that magic back in, and doing some very specific things just to help re-engage with that.
Like what kind of things have you done to re-engage with it?
Yeah. Well, I think the first is just an awareness that the magic was sort of slipping. And when
it's different here too, because we're in a warm climate, right? Like you don't really turn on, there's no like Hallmark movie about Christmas in Southern California, unless I'm missing something.
I'm sure there's a Hallmark movie
is,
Christmas in Southern California.
Every Hallmark movie or every Christmassy movie is like, there's a big city that somebody lives in, then they go back to their small town, probably somewhere in the middle of America where it's freezing cold. And I feel like in warmer places, it's harder to connect with Christmas. I had a lot of friends from Australia, and it was always like asking them what they do on Christmas. They're like, well, yeah, we do a barbecue, go surf, hang out at the beach. And you're like, wait, what? You're like, well, yeah, it's summer there during that time. So I wonder have you ever thought about going to like just spend Christmas in like a colder place? Like,
I think
connect with it a little more.
Yeah, I'm agree. And I say that because I think you're exactly right. You definitely feel more Christmassy in a colder place. Yeah. But I think some of the specific things for, not everybody's in a cold environment or in an environment like that. I think that some of the things that you can do, and again, part of this is not, when I say magic, I'm not trying to get away from the reason for the season. And Christ, there's that pervading sentiment and focus on Christ. And I think that's one of the biggest things to do to re-engage with Christmas, is to remember the hope of Christ and what that meant when he came down. And we could talk all day about that, but really just letting your mind saturate on that and think about it, like I said, from all different angles. And then reading stories and books that help you to reconnect with that, and just remember that, and take that season as a time of, I'm going to intentionally, that's why I think Advent studies are so great, because it takes you through several weeks of just intentional study around that event and helps you reconnect with that. But then I think a couple other just really practical things is, it's really easy to let a lot of the other responsibilities and things of life crowd out our time and our schedules. So I think it's really great to just make time to go and do the Christmas events. And it sounds so simple, but just maybe it's going to walk in a neighborhood that has a whole bunch of lights set up with friends. Maybe it's just having a night with your spouse or with friends where you're just baking Christmas cookies and decorating them. It's doing fun things like being intentional about when you're driving. Just, I don't even feel like listening to Christmas songs right now. I have something else I want to listen to, but I'm just going to listen to the Christmas songs and put myself...
So like a discipline for you.
Yeah, right? No, I love Christmas music, but being intentional to say, again, or I kind of want to turn on a podcast, but I'm going to actually just listen to a couple, like a Christmas album today or something. Even to just, like right now, I'm wearing Christmas socks with our little cactus that are decorated up. So I'm getting my like little Arizona saguaro cactus like in there. So I think it's doing stuff like that. I loved when I walked in and I saw your little Christmas set here. Just fun things like that help to sort of put you in the mood. Yeah. So it's really small practical things that you can do.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't like, maybe this is the year that I should put more of an effort into it, but I don't connect with like Christmas a ton. Like I said, like it's decorations and stuff. Of course there's meaning behind, the faith side of it. But yeah, maybe I would if I had a little bit more of a put more of an effort to, like, this is the extent of our like Christmas decorations. This, and then we have a little box that has a tree that's like yay big, and we'll put ornaments that are like this big on it. But yeah, maybe there's a little bit more effort that could be put in on Christmas stuff on my end.
It definitely is effort. Every year when I have to get out the 30-foot ladder and put lights on top of our roof and go through that, I'm always a little bit begrudging it.
Right.
And this year I was actually thinking about our last podcast of the types of fun.
Oh yeah.
And thinking about, man, I could either have this be a type 2 fun of like, hey, hanging Christmas lights. I don't really want to do this. Or I could make it into the type 3 and say, all right, this isn't necessarily fun, but I'm going to make it into being fun. So we played Christmas music. The girls were decorating inside, and I just tried to enjoy it as much as I could, and just taking that perspective and recognize, like, hey, to celebrate Christmas, it is, especially as adults, it is effort.
Yeah.
It's work. But I don't know. I think it's really worth it to slow down and just have that season, and to think back to, I think when you get to January, you say, hey, I just took that month and really slowed down or really leaned into it. It's really fun. Yeah. It's really great. But it does take work and takes effort.
Your two oldest are now 8 and 5.
Yeah.
Right. So what do they like about Christmas? Like, what's Christmas to them?
I mean, presents are probably the top thing, but I think especially with our older one, she really does understand the reason for the season and that this is about Christ. And that's something that we continually reinforce with them too, as we're talking about those things. And that's why, on Christmas Day, the first thing that we're doing as a family is reading Luke 2 together to make sure that that is the priority and that's what we're about. But right now, I'd have to say the number one thing that they love about Christmas is Forrest Frank's new Christmas album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I don't know who that is.
Time. Yeah. There's just Forrest Frank Christmas album all the time. That's probably what they're most jazzed up about right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do they both want for Christmas?
I don't know.
Really?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Avery's got a list.
Okay.
But I haven't reviewed it because her list is year long. It's been going on as a last Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
my favorite thing, which is hopefully it doesn't ruin Christmas for them, but or ruin a surprise for them. I won't say what the surprise is, but last year we did this, and we'll do something similar this year. Last year we took Mac and Avery to the trampoline park as their Christmas gift, and so I'm excited because we have another like activity planned for them. It's not exactly the same. I think they'll actually like this better, but that's something that I'm excited and less excited for them. Well, actually, they do still have something to open per se, but yeah, I'm excited to give that one to them.
I love that you guys do that you get them experiences. And I think that's such a good idea especially for aunts and uncles, to give experiences and time when you get to take them out and spend time with them and then go do a fun activity like a trampoline park.
Yeah.
I think that's great because kids have way too much stuff.
Yeah.
Or they can. We just got a couple minutes left. What are some of the top Christmas movies for you?
We always watch Jingle All the Way with some part of our family. That's fun, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. Incredible.
Yeah, he's actually the funnier half. That one's always good. We always grew up watching Home Alone, but not even necessarily as a Christmas movie. So that's always a good one. I would really like to watch It's a Wonderful Life, because it's an older one, but I haven't watched that for a long time, and I think that one's rich in meaning too. But I'd like to see that one again.
Nice.
Yeah.
I watched that one a couple years ago. It's not a every year one on my list, but it should be. It's really, I remember being impacted by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the ones that I just watched actually last night that I've watched before, but I was surprised again at how good it was, is The Man Who Invented Christmas. And I mentioned A Christmas Carol earlier, and the whole reason why is because The Man Who Invented Christmas is all about Charles Dickens and how he wrote A Christmas Carol in just 6 weeks and trying to get it off to the publishing, but basically his journey of sort of discovering the characters and him connecting with the miser Scrooge and developing that character, but really also too talking about what was going on in London and what he was seeing from like the debt houses and things like that. And Tiny Tim, and how a lot of these people were not paying their workers a living wage, or they pay like, hey, this is kind of the rate, but like, yeah, this guy's got a family that and everything.
Not a good time in London when he wrote that.
Exactly. And so, it was a really good Christmas movie.
When was it? When did it come out?
I think a couple years ago.
Okay. So it's a newer.
It's a newish one. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see that because, when you think about it, that Charles Dickens probably did have a huge impact on Christmas, like globally. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was really good. You Stole Jingle All the Way. That's my go-to favorite. I don't know how that started. I think just one time we just liked it as kids.
It was new when we were kids, right? I think that movie came out late 90s maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Just that one. That's cool.
Yeah. There's a bunch of movies that everyone's got a different one. The ones I also hear are like A Christmas Story, the one with the kid with the glasses. Yeah. That one's really popular. I don't know. I never really cared for that one.
Never big.
Yeah. That one wasn't huge. People debate whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not.
What do you say?
I say Christmas happens in that movie. And it's not a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you say?
I like to think of it as a Christmas movie.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's just because it is a Christmas movie for some people. It feels like
it's true. So yeah. But I think here's the thing is that it almost holds up as a classic movie on its own. If you push it into the Christmas category, then you're like giving it the freebie of like, you have to watch it every year.
I think that's why people push it.
That's probably why people do it. Yeah. Okay. This is the one that some people, I think this was the most like on the fence one too. Harry Potter, Christmas movie or not Christmas movie?
Not a Christmas movie.
I don't think so either.
I know it has Christmas in it.
Christmas happens.
It's got like all this.
Yeah, it's got every holiday or whatever thing. Yeah.
Because it really feels like you could watch that any time of the year.
Yeah. I didn't watch any Harry Potters until like a year ago. We actually watched our good friends are really into them. So they were like, we're going to try to do every Harry Potter on New Year's Eve. And we got we got to, I think 4. So we watched 4 movies and it was pretty good. But yeah, it really is just like the school year. It's not about Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other one I was going to mention that I feel like is good. And I'm totally blanking on it now. But yeah. Good Christmas movies. Oh, I was going to say last year, Brie and I watched some of the Hallmark ones.
Oh, yeah.
And those are, you can hit or miss with some of them. But some of them were they're very cheesy, very corny. But it definitely was kind of just nice to watch. It's sometimes nice to watch the idyllic worlds that they sort of create and know that that's not the real world. But everyone's nice, it's friendly, it's cheerful. And some people harp on it. It's like, oh, it's all so fake. And it's like, yeah, but then like a Marvel movie is also like choose your fake. Like I'm going to choose the like nice, comforting thing when everybody's like, because I always go away from those like Hallmark movies wanting to, I'm like, I want to act like that. I want to be so cheerful and friendly and hospitable. So we really liked some of those ones.
Nice. That's good.
Cool. Yeah. Well, should we wrap up our episode? Merry Christmas to everybody. We hope you have a great Christmas this year and get to enjoy time with family and the season. And I hope that you make just time for enjoying and settling into Christmas and enjoying the season, however you might celebrate it. But remember the reason for the season, why we do all that is to remember the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. And so if you ever have questions about that and what all that means, feel free to hit us up in the comments and we'd love to connect with you. All right. Anything else?
Nope. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.